Hey everybody, it's your hospitality friend Glenn here, and I'm excited to welcome you to another episode of iContent Experts, brought to you by our good friends over at the Extended Stay Lodging Association. Be sure to check them out at ESLA.org because we are launching a series of regional events beginning December 4th at the Crowne Plaza in Ravinia in Atlanta. This is a series of events you are not going to want to miss because in the mornings we're talking about extended stay development, where in the afternoons the conversation is going to be focused on operations. This one is perfect for those who are developing or operating properties in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Alabama, for example. Headlining, we've got Mark Skinner of the Highland Group. We've got Cindy Estes Green and Mark Lamano of Calibri Labs, and they're giving you the insights you need to know. Check them out at ESLA.org, ESLA.org. Now, for today we got a good one, so you're going to want to buckle up for safety. I'm not kidding about this one, because we're unlocking the secrets of SEO, but from a local perspective. To do that, we're joined by Gordon Liametz. He's the CEO of Digital Escape, who's been focused on this segment for years, and he's going to break down actionable insights for you. We're going to be so focused on local SEO basics, Google algorithms, the power of local searches, how to do your Google business listings, the essential things you need to know, effective use of keywords, video and photography tips, and much, much more. Also, I want to thank our friends over at Delasart Hospitality for supporting this one. You know, they've been in the third-party management business for more than 2 decades. They're the only hospitality company that offers 3 key services, either alone or bundled: full management, remote sales support, remote revenue management services. Please check them out at delasart.com. Now, seriously, this is a good one. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Doug, I'm so glad you're back with us here today because I've got a lot of questions. We've done so much to really educate people here and also revealing the history of everything. But one thing I don't understand is, like, how are we as hoteliers going to really be able to find those guests at the local level you need in order to make your property super successful?
Well, you couldn't be more right, Glenn. The whole aspect is, we need to take advantage of technology today. And there's a lot of things that are very different than going out and knocking on doors that represents probably 80% of the way that people make reservations today. So staying in touch with these techniques is critically important, just like you said.
Yeah, and I will tell you guys what, it's the thing with technology is whenever you get it all figured out, it goes ahead and changes on you. That's why we have an expert with us today, Gordon Liametz. He's the founder and CEO of Digital Escape, who happens to be doing a lot of work with Doug's company and the Extended Stay Lodging Association. Gordon, thanks for coming here today and demystifying SEO, particularly on a local level. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Glenn. Thank you so much.
All right, so what I want to do, Gordon, is I want to be very, very basic over here. I don't want anyone to think that they know stuff or don't know stuff. So let's start right at the beginning. SEO, what does it really stand for beyond search engine optimization?
Sure. So with Google, they have all these different algorithms. And there's 5 basic algorithms that Google has. There's SEO with a website, like your brand does if you're a branded hotel. Then you have paid search algorithms. Then you have mobile for mobile devices algorithms. And then you have paid search when there's paid ads for paid algorithms. And then there's local. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is going to be local search engine optimization, because so many people have an opportunity with local search to really make an impact on visibility for their hotel.
Yeah, Gordon, you're absolutely right, because I think one of the things that we do is we think about the big national, global kind of view on kind of stuff. And a lot of times we're saving that really critical stuff that's going to make the difference with the local stuff. Right, Doug? How do you see it?
Well, it all depends on how the property is positioned in a local basis on technology, on the web, on the internet. And there's so many factors to being represented properly and ways that people are improperly represented also. And Gordon has these 20 steps, and we'll talk about them, but there's so many things to learn, and Gordon is an absolute expert at it. So, Gordon.
Yeah. All right, so Gordon, first question that I have for you, now that we understand search engine optimization on the local level is so important, of my fear is that we're in a world of you don't know what you don't know, right? So if you're not doing this the right way, chances are you're invisible and you're not even able to get in on the conversation in order to capture that guest, right?
100% correct. The challenge for hotels is that the brands do a great job as the brand name.
Right.
However, 46% of all local searches, and usually on a mobile device, are intent, not brand name search. And so the intent is, I'm looking for an extended stay hotel in X city, or I'm looking for a hotel or hotel near me now, which has increased about 500% on that search term, because they might be in a certain area or they might be in a hotel that they're not happy with anymore.
It's correct. And I would also say general consumer trends are the booking window has shrunk over the last 10 or 15 years. So the fact that people are making these choices last minute is not a surprise. I'd also, Gordon, I'd add, if you have a family disaster and you need to get to an extended stay hotel quick, not something that you're researching years in advance.
Exactly. And then once they find that hotel, 76% have an intent of either calling or going to the website or making a booking. So it's really important for hotels to really pay attention to what they can do. And Doug is right. We work together and we put together, a 20-point checklist that people can get, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but they can do their own self-audit. And the nice thing is, if you're a branded hotel or non-branded, you can make an impact on local search. We've seen it time and time again if it's done the right way. We've had, some extended stay properties that come to us and say, we're not showing up. And it was a branded hotel, which I can't touch the brand website for SEO, but I can touch local. And it's doing these little things with local that allows that to happen. So then they can start ranking and being found in what's called the 3-pack. And then you'll also have the mapping section on
right.
Google.
So what I'm taking away from what you just said, Gordon, is that we have this idea that if you're a branded hotel, the national company is taking care of everything, but they're not. How do we get in the right mindset? And how do we start our initial steps in order to start to get discovered when it comes to local search?
Sure. So with local search, the first thing you have to do is really do a self-audit. Where you got to get your Google business listing. 95% of all the brands will give you access to your Google business listing.
Now, this is what, when I'm on Google, this is what shows up in the screen on the side?
On the side, yes. It's on the side or in the 4-pack with the images of the pictures.
Right.
So here's a good example. We worked with a extended stay hotel that was a 2-star, but it wasn't a 2-star. It was a 3-star.
Oh.
And it should have been a 3-star. Google had it as a 2-star. It took us about 4 months to move it from 2-star to 3-star. But the difference, Glenn, is that the hotel now gets a higher rate and they're better positions on the search engines, because when they're in that 2-star category, you're in 2-star hotels in their extended stay. When you're at 3-star, it's a completely different thing. The brands aren't going to help you with that. The brands aren't going to go in and do a self-audit. They're going to say, well, we have our standard stuff. And you've got to do Google postings on Google. You have to do, keywords when you're doing your post. You have to have behavior in terms of someone clicks on your site and then they go to your Google business page. Now they're going to go to Google Images. Well, if you, not the brand, you've got to upload images, you have to upload videos. The more time that someone spends in your Google listing, the more likely that Google is going to rank you time and time again.
Yes. And I will say right out the bat, hire somebody to take the pictures. You're not as good as a photographer as you think you are. And when we see something, we make that buy decision. So make the right investment. Doug, I know you got to say something.
No, Glenn, I was going to jump in and say pretty much the same. Most owners do not know how they're represented on the internet. And it may be based on the wrong star rating. The pictures may be out of date. The attractive verbiage may be completely off center to that guest's purpose. So you're right. Getting a professional involved, even for a complimentary audit, if you will.
Yep.
Is the way to go, so you'll learn what that gap is. And it's not nuclear science, but it is nuclear science from an importance point.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Glenn, how the hotels can save money.
Yeah.
A lot of the brands say you have to use the branded photographer, which we all know is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you hire a photographer, you can actually go through the Google certified photographers, and we can send a list out of those. And through that, they will come out to your hotel, take pictures, and they're not going to go on the brand site. It's going to go on the Google business listing site. And that's what we're talking about is impactful. And then you're only talking maybe $1,000, $1,200 for a photographer to come out, because Google wants a user experience. So they kind of help fund that with those photographers. And so you don't have to worry about spending all kinds of money, to get these photos. And you're absolutely right. You need photos and video. Video is extremely important. 30 seconds, no more, about the hotel, and maybe a tour of the hotel room or something like that. That is part of the algorithms that Google uses local to rank you.
Now, who should be shooting that video and who should be featured in that video? I'm getting at the point of you want to make sure you're projecting the right image that are going to get people to want to stay with you.
Right. So some of the videos would be tours of your guest room. It would be tours of your pool area that you have. A lot of extended stays have the cooking area. People cooking. You can very easily take your iPhone, and I'm not talking about pictures, with video.
Yes.
And you have guests cooking, and you got the smoke coming out of there, and there's action going on.
Yeah.
30 seconds, get them to sign something so you get their permission, and upload that. Google loves that, and you're higher probability of getting ranked when you have that kind of content on Google.
That's right. And in the spirit of being very basic with our explanations over here, photography must be extremely professional, but the nature of short video clips is they're more off the cuff. And I think people find them more authentic when you don't have a lot of that production quality to it. So it's a little confusing. On one side, you got to be at the top of your game. And in the other, you've got to communicate on a more intimate human level.
Well, and there's a lot of, Glenn, there's a lot of influencers out there who will come to the hotel, take the videos, which is professionally done by these people. It doesn't cost the hotel anything but a free room to give them. And you can upload those images to there. You can also upload images and videos of attractions. Contact your local attraction, see if they'll give you a 30-second clip, and then you upload that. Most of the attractions have professional clips of their attraction, because what that does is it geo-marks Google as to your location. So when you're uploading images, for example, you should be uploading it with keywords, but also you can upload it with your geographic location.
Okay, so what are the keywords? How does that usually work? Where do you put the keywords? What should the keywords be? And let's take the example of showing a group of people out barbecuing and having a good time.
The barbecue picture with the having good time image, I may do a longitude and latitude, because when Google is searching, they're taking that longitude and latitude and they're going like this. And there's a lot of hotels that have longitude here, 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 and here.
Right.
You want it all synced. And then when you're taking a picture of, let's say, an outdoor pool, then I would upload that with a keyword, extended stay hotel with outdoor pool. An image of your guest room, a hotel with kitchen, short-term stay hotel, those kind of things. And the brands aren't going to do that.
All right, so now you're talking about longitude and latitude. If I upload any of the content while I'm at the property, will that take care of itself so I don't have to figure out that?
No, you actually have to go in and look at the coordinates of your longitude and latitude and put that in the image on the picture.
And how can you just Google where I am and it'll tell you the longitude?
Yeah, you can just Google, what is my longitude and latitude, and then that'll come up. You can put the address in. What is the longitude and latitude of my address? And you put that in. There's tons of tools that will tell you that.
Excellent.
Well, I think it's a matter of, there are a lot of competitors also that get all this. So there's no time like the present to get your house in order, if you will, especially with the winter coming up right now, the off season. We need as much business as you can possibly get. Be right there, be competitive, and the timing is perfect.
Yeah, you brought up a good point by saying off season. It just occurred to me. I see a lot of hotels' primary photo is during the winter, and it's their parking lot with the hotel way in the background as their primary photo. That's not what's going to convert the consumer. It's just not going to convert that.
I might be the odd duck, but I base all my decisions based on the size of parking lots. So, you got that.
Yeah, you got to put your hero image right on there and make sure that that is striking.
But listen, you're a hospitality hero, not a photography hero, which is why you got to get the pictures, again, done professionally using Gordon's suggestion there through Google, because it might be at a more discounted type of price. So what other tips do you have for your business profile to make sure it's all good? We've already talked high quality, relevant photos, talked a little bit about keywords, but what are some of the other things we need to think about?
Well, there's something that's called NAP, which is name, address, phone. And you want to make sure all the directories have everything exactly the same. And here's the challenge. So with Google, the way they're ranking that is besides having Google completeness, everything complete in Google, now it's what do the other sites say? Like Yelp and some of these other sites. And if the phone number is wrong, which it is a lot of times, or the address is not the name of the hotel, rather, is not the exact name of the extended stay hotel. It just might say, extended stay hotel America, but not the secondary location on some directories and some non-directories. That's a problem. The brands are supposed to be handling that for you, but you got to contact your franchise rep to have them go to the company that does that. It gets a little complicated.
Hey, 6 to 8 months from now, you might have it done.
Right. So what you need to do is you really need to get someone who knows what they're doing that can cut through the shuffle and say, okay, I need an audit of this by this, and then they'll fix it. But another thing that you need to be doing, as I mentioned, is Google Posts. You need to add your social media to the Google business listing. That's very important too. Mm-hmm. And then it also to have the behavior, and that is the people coming on your Google business listing, and then they're looking at the images I mentioned earlier, and also looking at your videos. The longer you keep them on there, the better off that you're gonna be.
Right. Yeah. One question about the phone number, because a lot of times I find that the phone number is the 800 number you call the major brand. Should you make sure it's that, or should you make it the phone number that goes to a representative that's on property, or even the general manager or owner's phone number? How do you see it?
Well, it depends, right? Most of the brands will go directly to the hotel, but some brands it goes to the 800 number. The brands control that part of the Google listing, but where the brands don't control is, cities near me. So if you're in a secondary city off of Chicago, as an example, or Atlanta,
right.
Brand is not going to go in and put all those secondary cities for Google to crawl and to possibly rank you more. And Doug brought up a good point, like, what are the competitors doing? So you should really be looking at how are my competitors ranking? And if they're always showing up for various search terms, pet-friendly hotel, hotel with indoor-outdoor pool, hotel with, kitchen facilities, if they're ranking for that, you got to dig into what they're doing on their listing to get that.
Yeah.
And that's something that's very specific that the hotels need to be thinking about.
Ooh, that's exhausting. So
it's a lot of information, Glenn. I mean, it's a tremendous amount. There's a way to make this easy. At ESLA.org, there is a tab for the 20 steps of things to think about this whole SEO process. And Gordon will talk about this. So don't be afraid of this, listeners, owners, developers. Don't be afraid of it. This is an opportunity to make the most of your development, to make the most of your investment.
Yeah, for sure. And let's make it even easier. Just drop an email to info@esla.org. That's info@esla.org. And the team will get you this document to help you out. Because remember, we're here to help you be successful in this. So we've already discussed a bunch of stuff on here, but how do you really optimize for local SEO, Gordon, at this point? What are some of the main things that you should be thinking of besides name, address, phone number, and all of that kind of stuff?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, making sure that you do the biggest thing I think that really can help out are reviews. Critical, critical, critical. And not only making sure that you're getting reviews, but that you're responding to the reviews as well. Because Google looks at that. And when you're getting reviews, you could have a hotel that has let's say 4-star reviews and another hotel that has 4-star reviews. But Google's going to rank this hotel higher. Why? Possibly, if you look at the detail of the reviews, if someone is just giving a hotel 4-star reviews and that's it, and no commentary, Google's going to rank the commentary.
Right.
And Google is pulling in TripAdvisor. They're pulling in Expedia. So I would recommend the hotels put together a QR code at the front desk for the OTAs, for TripAdvisor, and for Google. Have the guest, how was your stay? Have them, scan the QR code. You can go right to Google, and they can do a review right then and there. And those kind of things will very much help with conversion and also help with the converting of the bookings. Hotel reviews is different than hotel class star. So you need to look at your hotel class star with Google. And if you're a brand, compare it to other brands. And if you see other brands of the same type, whether it's Residence Inn, Extended Stay, Staybridge, whatever, have a 3-star and you have a 2, then there's a process to get that change. It can happen, but I can tell you it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to involve many, many, many different steps.
And it's going to probably be aggravating. So you got to know that going into it. All right. So Gordon, you brought up a great point. And I think since the dawn of the internet era, and I'm going to gamble that all three of us remember what it was like beforehand, a star rating was specifically focused around the amenities and services that were offered at a hotel with a little bit of the quality thrown in. I think today we rate things 1 to 5 stars on quality without really understanding the differences and nuances of different types of hotels serving different audiences. There's no shame in being a 2-star hotel or a 3-star hotel. It refers to the types of amenities and service you are. Now, you want to be a 5-star, 2-star hotel on all of these review sites because that means you are perfecting your 2-starness as much as you possibly can. So I wanted to clear that up because I find so much confusion about that in the audience out there. All right. So again, I'll go back to the local stuff real quick. If I'm near a major metropolitan hospital or this this upcoming exciting mega project that's being built, I'm thinking traveling nurses, construction workers. How can I get that into my description and explain that in a way that makes sense, that Google will go, hey, you like what you're talking about there?
So getting back to Google Posts. Mm-hmm. So on the Google Post, what you can do on the Google Post is you can post about the hospitals that are near you, the projects that are coming up that are near you, the fact that you're near facilities that require that, because Google is crawling you, right? They're crawling that. And the way Google's algorithms work, it makes sense in any other business. The more time you use more Google services, YouTube, their blog, the Google post, the more likely that you're going to rank higher on that. So if you're going after like traveling nurses, you've got to get into the back end of Google on your Google business listing and start checking off all those amenities and information that's applicable for that. And in the cases where you can change the description, if that's a hotbed area for you, then you can put that in there as well. But you need to focus on that you're an extended stay hotel, that you have the kitchen facilities and so on. If you have an independent website, then you can start doing local pages on the independent website, and then it, all will come together.
Should you have an independent website? Because my brand, I think, is doing a good job. Why would I need a local website?
It really kind of depends. If you're in a business-to-business area, you really don't need one. If you're in a leisure area, then I think more so that you do, only because with the brands, you're not going to rank for non-branded search terms. Very unlikely, because some of the brands, you just can't do much SEO on it. And with Google and what they're crawling and what they're looking for, and then some of the brands don't allow it, so you gotta balance it out. That's why it's best for branded hotels to focus on local and what you can do locally. So for it, another good example, let's just talk about paid for a second.
Yeah.
You can do what's called geo-targeting. So what that means is you take these proximity maps, right? And you map out a specific area. So if you're near a university and it's Parents' Weekend, you can say, I only want my ad to show up in this particular area of a zip code around this university.
Right.
And to get that, hopefully extended stay business with parents coming in for a long-term stay to see their parents, that's good. Or construction sites that you were talking about earlier. You can do things like that. And you have to test the waters on that and see just how it works, and then determine an ROI from there. Google's going to give you that.
You can change this information often.
As you should, right?
As you seasonally or new business coming into town, just understand that Google doesn't move overnight. So it takes some time, but you have to go through this and be as up to speed as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And Google gives you results, Glenn. So when you get that access, it'll tell you how many websites clicks, how many booking clicks, how many phone calls, how many directions, how many visits to the page. So you can track your progress, whether you are an outside company or you have someone trying to do it in-house, you'll be able to track that progress.
Yeah.
And that's very important to do. And in addition to do competitor research on saying, hey, what are the categories of my competitors? There's a lot of extended stay hotels, and the category listing is hotel. It should be extended stay.
Mm-hmm.
It should be long-term stay. But the brands have a standard, click, 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 and then that's it. So that's why, again, I really want to stress all the hotels out there. You've got to take ownership, and all it takes is sending an email to your franchise person and say, I'd like to get access to our Google business listing. And I know we're going to talk about a 20-point checklist that Doug mentioned that's on the site that you can download for free, and happy to walk you through, any questions that you might have on that.
Sure. So, of course, you're going to want to get this checklist, info@esla.org, ESLA.org. Just send us an email and let us have it. All right. So tell us a little bit about this document and some of the highlights of it. Don't go over the whole thing. We want people to come and get it for themselves.
And when you email us at info@esla.org, just put in download, and that's it. You don't have to write a long email. Just say download in the subject line. Get right out to you. So in the document, it's 4 pages, and it really is a checklist on every specific area that we kind of talked about today, but in much, much greater detail. And so you will be able to go through that one by one and say, okay, where am I at with this? Where am I at with this? Now, some of it you may not know how to fix or understand. That's something that, ESLA can, we can help you out with here. We're happy to do that. But those are the kind of things that are in this document that goes in complete detail. It's kind of like your black book of, okay, everything I want to know about, pretty much local search. We talk even more detail about what some of the algorithms are.
Right.
So you can then look at that, and then you need to put a strategy against the algorithms to you and say, okay, this is how I want to improve my ranking. Because remember, there's 2 types of rankings on Google with Google Local. You have Google Maps, and then you have the 4-pack or 3-pack, depending on what Google shows. 2 different algorithms, 2 different results.
Very complicated, which is why I like having a guy like you in our corner to be able to help people out here.
I think Doug is, we're giving away, Doug, you want to tell them about the consultation?
I'm going to take care of that. In just a minute. Don't you worry about that. But Doug, before we wrap up, anything else that you got for Gordon over here?
It's a game changer if you're not playing that game. Okay. So just get on board, investigate, learn.
Yeah.
ESLA's all about education. And this is one of the most hard-hitting educational topics that we can offer today. And we have real tools for you that you can get today.
Yeah. Totally. And I'll say, guys, we should just call this episode low-hanging fruit, because this is something that is not complicated to do and can make a demonstrable difference to your business.
And we will talk more about that at the workshop too on December 4th in Atlanta, Glenn.
Yes, and you can get more information on that at ESLA.org as well. Please go to the website, register for that now. Doug, so many great people are going to be there. We got Cindy Estes-Scream from Calibri, who's going to be doing a report. I know we've got the Highland Group folks. Mark Skinner's going to be talking about it. I think you're going to be there. So no better reason to go.
So one thing that a homework assignment I like to give everybody out there is to go to Google Maps and Google Local and your phone. Those three things. So Google Maps, regular Google, whichever your favorite browser is, and then the mobile device. And type in hotel near me, extended stay hotel near me. Type in your competitors. Type in all the non-branded search terms that you can think of. Hotel with kitchenette near me, hotel with, and see where you rank within local search.
That's if you even show up.
Real eye-opener.
Right. Yeah. And remember, Google's adding more sponsored searches these days as well. So you really need to do this if you're even going to appear, use an old newspaper term, above the fold. So you got to be able to do that right. So you're listed right near the top, or at least one or two under the sponsors.
Yeah, and on Friday, I did this for a client. I looked up theirs, and there's another hotel buying that hotel's name.
Wow.
So you really got to think about that too. On, if your competitor's buying your name, that they're thinking that you're probably a threat to them. So maybe, well, do you buy their name? And buying a competitor's name is not expensive at all. So I think that's something that needs to be considered. It's a whole strategy.
Right.
And there should be a local strategy for every hotel.
Wow. I like that. Well, I think maybe I'll buy Joe Rogan's name so I can get more views on my podcast. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. And listen, this was a huge conversation today because you all out there have the opportunity to be more successful with your existing properties, right? You've got to go in there and do everything Gordon said. Go back, check out all that information. Make sure your photography is right. Make sure your keywords are right. Make sure you're partnering with people in the community that'll help create great content for you. Respond to those reviews, both positive and negative. And we all get in this mindset. You only respond to negative reviews. No, thank you for your stay. We really appreciate you. Loved our play. Something nice. Thank them. All of that kind of stuff. But wait, we're not done over here, guys, because for the first 5 folks that text your name and hotel name to 407-513-2041, we are going to provide a complimentary 30-minute local search strategy session complete with takeaways on what you can do immediately. So that's the first 5 people. Again, 407-513-2041. The number is right down there. We'll check your individual rankings, share key takeaways with actionable insights you can do right away. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed talking to Gordon Liametz today. And of course, thank you, Doug, for being such a great co-host. We'll see you right back here next time on Icons and Experts, brought to you by our incredible friends over the Extended Stay Lodging Association. Have a great day.